welcome back to another episode of Who Am I to Judge podcast. I'm Alexis.
And I am Samantha. Welcome back, y'all.
Welcome back. What's up with you?
Oh, nothing. Just happy to be talking to you, my friend. Yeah, I am very tired and, doing my best. Like all I can do. But yeah, I'm definitely very tired. I'm so happy I have tomorrow off. Finally.
Love to see it.
I have been working so much because we were short-staffed, but yeah, so I am just ready I really just want to cuddle up and watch something good.
Who you trying to cuddle up with?
With Jupiter. That's about it.
Okay.
But I've been watching this good show called From. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
It's a scary show. It's an MGM show, but it's on Amazon Prime, and it's just so good. So that's what I want to watch. Be cozy in this rainy weather we're having. But how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Just preparing to be a single dog mom this weekend. I'm so sad. Julia's going to Detroit, and then as she lands on Sunday, I leave on Sunday to go to Houston. So I'm in Houston till Thursday, and then guess what? On Friday, I have my micro law consultation, and so I'm so excited about that. And yeah, I mean, I can't complain. I'm making money. My workout class was tough, but good. I got my man with me. We're good to go. So let's keep it moving.
Are you bringing Mello home when you go to Houston, or?
Yeah, Mello. Your niece will be in Maryland, so I'm meeting my mom halfway on Saturday, and then I'll pick her up on Saturday. So it's a full week. But let's get to it. Okay.
So what are we talking about this week? Who's on trial?
Ooh, a jinx. Who's on trial is today we're talking astrology because we've had a couple requests for our resident astrology guru. Astrologer to read some charts and to get into it. And so Samantha is our resident astrologer.
I dabble in the astros, so I'm gonna do my best to talk us through our charts.
Yes, and apply it to our lives, our personal lives, and then also just what's happening in the world. So
we'll talk about what's going on in the cosmos at large. So I guess
let's get
into it. I'm like, damn, we're starting off with this. Okay, so I think the best thing for us to do is just go through your chart first, and we'll just talk about like the signs and the houses that they're in. So as you guys know, well, you may not know, astrology or your birth chart is basically like a snapshot of where the sky was when you came into the world. So Alexis on October 11th, 1992. And so it's just where all the planets were. There are different types of astrology, I guess. Well, not types of astrology, but like different I'm trying to think of the word.
Is it important?
It kind of is, because
there's different types of astrology.
There's just different types of charts. So like you'll have the whole sign, Pleiadius, sidereal, so like those types of things. I'm just gonna read the Pleiadius. That's pretty normal, as well as the whole sign, but we'll just go with that for now. So Alexis has a Libra sun. Sorry. She's a Libra sun, and we are in Libra season as of like a couple of days ago. And what else? She is a Aries moon.
So what does that mean? What does Libra sun and Aries moon mean?
So, I mean, these are just like different aspects of you. So like the moon is more of like your internal world, or how you like how you are with emotions. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so you can kind of think of it like that too. So like the first to the last, which is Pisces. If you're kind of on the journey from the first to the last, the Aries is like a new infant kind of thing, like very curious. It's a fire sign, but also kind of reactive, like,
Interesting.
yeah, it's like, it's a baby. So if you think about a baby of just like, I'm hungry, they're gonna cry, or so like
reactive. That's hilarious.
yes, and just kind of like can be a little blunt.
Okay.
But yeah, so your moon is in Aries, and your sun is in Libra. So your sun is, that's like what generally people like say is like your personality, or like what people might see from you. So yours is in Libra. Libra is all about like relationships. We actually have our nodes, which are important parts of the sky. Like right now, the south node is in Libra, and the north node is in Aries. So those are opposite signs. So every sign has an opposite. I say all that to say, like I said, like the Aries is about yourself, like putting yourself kind of first, and Libra is like about the other. So they're like two different sides of the same coin, I guess. But yeah, the north node is in Aries, which means like that's kind of what we're striving to as like a culture. Like it's really important to put yourself first right now. And
so back to the Libra sun, you said it's like all about relationships, all about the other. Anything else? Justice. Girl, all of this is on point. I don't know about the reactive, but keep going.
Your moon is, I feel like your Aries moon makes so much sense, because it's like, when you're blown, you're blown. When you're like, you are not covering up your
I'm not hiding, like if I'm like annoyed. Yeah.
You're like, you're gonna see it and I'm gonna tell you.
Julia always says the energy in the room shifts when Alexis is upset.
Exactly.
That's
so
hilarious.
It's like you are the baby, making it known that like, you are not happy with something. So yeah, you have your Libra sun. Libra is about justice, like I said. They're known to be a little indecisive.
Interesting.
It's the scale. So yeah, let's keep moving.
Let's keep it moving. Yeah.
There's a lot to cover. Your Mercury is in Scorpio. Mercury is all about like how you communicate, how you receive information. It's ruled by Gemini, and Gemini is all about like just like a lot of chatter, like talking, communicating. Yeah. So yours is in Scorpio. Mine is also in Scorpio. Both of our Mercury's in Scorpio. So I think that's definitely a reason why we talk about a lot of deep stuff. Like Scorpios are like the depth of the ocean. Okay. It is a water sign, and it is it rules the 8th house. So I know I'm kind of jumping all around, but it's just kind of like that. So astrology, there's 12 houses that we generally look at. Each house is ruled by a specific sign. There's 12 houses, 12 signs. So it goes from 1 to 12, 1 being Aries, 12 is the Pisces ruled house. So everything else in between, the 8th house is Scorpio. So when we talk about your Mercury's in Scorpio, this is what my little chart says: merging, sex, intimacy, shared finances, inheritances, taxes, loans, assets, goals, mysteries, partners, resources. So
sounds
yeah,
like commitment.
I mean, it's definitely, Scorpios are very devotional, but I think more so our Mercury in Scorpio is just about like, going to the depths of these topics, being very curious about things, and also like not for me, I would say like not shying away from like some of the darker things. Like I like to watch crime documentaries because I want to understand the mind of the killer.
No, that's real. And I feel like me and you love to talk deeply about those things you said, like relationships, marriage, divorce. Like, we like really love to like dissect these things. So I feel like it makes sense.
Yeah, and just a lot of stuff in general. So we'll keep on moving.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
So your Venus.
You're doing great.
Okay, good. Your Venus, I'm gonna ask you, what do you think Venus rules? Like,
Girl,
what would you?
Venus, like the house you're talking about?
Just like what that planet symbolizes. What do you?
Femininity.
Okay, that's good. Venus is definitely like how you approach relationships, money, finances. Your Venus is in Scorpio. So we got 2 Scorpio placements right now.
Uh-oh.
And Venus actually currently just entered into Scorpio like today or yesterday. So you're currently having a Venus return, which just means that the planet is where it was when you were born. So again, we're talking Scorpio, which is like, it can be possessive, it can be, very intense.
And this is how I approach relationships.
Yes, how you approach like
intense,
romantic,
possessive.
Yes, like, and I be seeing you and Julia have that little.
What have you been seeing?
I just noticed that you guys do. I see that little bit of possessiveness that you guys have. And
you talking
and Julia is
a
Scorpio. Just how y'all are. I know how you guys be getting a little jealous or like, oh, why are you looking at that? Or
that has literally never happened. You're over your line.
Oh my God, I'm not lying, guys.
Okay.
It's just playful though. It's not like y'all are like
playful.
serious.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever serious about it. But yes, playful. Yes,
but playful
sure.
and like this is my man. Like
my man.
So yes, and just deep, intense. Scorpio's also like sexual. It rules like rules that part of the body, and so you might be a freak if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart.
Who knows?
So your Mars is in Cancer. This is another placement that we share. My Mars is also in Cancer, and Mars is actually in Cancer right now in the sky. So we are having a Mars.
I'm in a Venus return. I'm in a Mars return.
Yes, and it's coming to your birthday, so it kind of makes sense. Like it's all kind of gonna line up. But so yes, Mars is all about, it's more like you said, Venus is more of the feminine side, Mars is masculine, I guess. It rules war, confrontation, action. It's definitely like what gets us up and going. And then if you have it in a place like Cancer or in a sign like Cancer, it's not always. There's signs that do better in different planets than others. Cancer doesn't do that great in Mars because it is a little passive, like
interesting.
If you think about Cancer as the crab, it's symbolized by the crab. So they talk about, crabs like go side to side, like versus like a Taurus bull is like gonna come right at you. So yeah, it's definitely, Cancer is a water sign. It's emotional. So, I would say for me, maybe like with my Mars in Cancer, my emotions definitely play a role in terms of like me taking action. And also when it is time to be confrontational, it's not that easy for me to like just be whatever.
Would it be the same for me? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Because yours is also in Cancer. But then you have to think about your other placements. Like, because you have the moon in Aries is much more direct, so maybe there are things that you're passive about, which there are. We be talking about that stuff. Like, you be so real with like your close people, but like people that you're like scared to, stand up for yourself sometimes.
That's real. That's really real.
Gonna keep moving. Jupiter, your Jupiter is in Libra. My Jupiter is also in Libra.
Wow.
Yes, we have a lot of shared placements. Libra, we've already talked about. Jupiter is the planet of optimism. It's ruled by Sagittarius. It's the planet of optimism. It's the planet of expansion, growth, luck. I wonder why I named Jupiter Jupiter. Because I'm like, that's what I'm trying to
Manifest, yes.
Yes, abundance and just like, again, luck and
so what does Libra and Jupiter mean?
So that might be like where you find some of your luck, like with partnership, with friendship.
Wow.
But let's also see where it is in your chart. So let me see where Jupiter is in your chart. I haven't really been going over the houses, but we can get into that too. Hold on. So yeah, your Jupiter is in your 8th house with your sun in your 8th house, which is the Scorpio ruled house. So you are definitely, you got a lot of Scorpio energy in your chart, which is probably another reason why we were close, because I also have a lot of Scorpio. But yeah, in terms of those kinds of topics, sex, intimacy, shared finances, inheritance, partners, resources.
What about it? How do I approach it?
You might just have some luck there, you know, like you might just have luck in those areas of like sex and intimacy. It can also make you lucky or I guess, or have like be able to, that might be what brings you some abundance in your life.
You're trying to make me sound like a sex addict.
No, I'm not. It's like you have a partner, you know, and it's like you're thriving. You know what I'm saying? Like
You're
maybe
so funny.
You thrive when you're in partnership.
Okay.
Your Jupiter's there and your Libra's there. We both have, these are some of the more generational things. So all of the people that were born around the time we were will have, and like the same year. Saturn is in Aquarius. We have already had our Saturn return. Thank God. We'll have more in our life. But Saturn is the disciplinarian, the father of the chart. It is very much like karma. What you put in is what you get out. It's like doing
that shit.
Doing the hard work, doing the practice, you know, showing up, doing the hard things. And so we have it in Aquarius, which definitely talks about, and yours is actually in the 1st house. I'm seeing the 1st house is all about the self. Remember, it rules Aries, so it's all about the self. So when you were having your Saturn return, you maybe were very focused on getting yourself together, being like, even with your appearance, and you had locks during that time. And like,
wow,
I feel like that's kind of a, like, you know, a process, like of, you know, a dedicated process.
Absolutely.
Of like your appearance and things like that. So yeah,
you did
there's just a little bit more.
Yeah,
I'll just talk about our Uranus and your Neptune are both in Capricorn. That's also another generational one. Your Pluto is in Scorpio, another generational one, Pluto. So Uranus is all about like sudden changes, surprise, things like that. Neptune is about, it can be about like delusion, and like it's Pisces ruled, so it can be just about like fantasy and delusion and stuff like that. Pluto is
destruction. I be in my head though, so fantasy and delusion, you know, sometimes is real.
This is everybody has those planets in their chart. These are just what they rule, are ruled, like, or those are just where ours are in Capricorn in our chart, which kind of makes me feel like this is the first time I'm having this thought, but like our generation, like my sister always talks about like how we were just so serious as kids.
Interesting.
Like, you know, we were very much like, you know, practicing for our band tests and stuff like that. Like Danielle and her, they did not give a fuck. They came unprepared. Like we really cared about our grades and stuff. So Capricorn is Saturn ruled. And then I'll say the last couple things. Your North Node is in Sagittarius, which mine is also, and your Chiron is in Leo, which is also a generational thing, the Chiron. Your North Node is kind of like where you are, your goals, kind of like if you are, living more so in that Sagittarian way, then you could have more success or you might be happier or,
Okay.
but your South Node is in Gemini, and Gemini, the difference between Gemini and Sag is like Gemini just wants to gobble up all of the information. It doesn't give a fuck about like deciphering. Like that's why we see Kanye, he just says whatever he wants to say, versus like Jay-Z, where it's just, okay, you're taking out the necessary information.
You're really digesting it, yeah.
Yeah, you're digesting it, you're making meaning towards it, whatever. So yeah, you might have a tendency to be more Gemini because that was your South Node, but then in this lifetime, it's like, okay, let's distill all that.
So, who am I most compatible with as a Libra sun?
I mean, that stuff is
Anyone?
that your whole chart, I want to definitely give y'all like your whole chart is really important. I also didn't say your rising. Your rising is in Aquarius, which makes sense. I feel like you are a very like Aquarius are very unique. They're supposed to go to the beat of their own drum. They're supposed to be like humanitarian. So it kind of goes in with like you really care about justice in the world. And there was something else I was going to say about Aquarius, but that your rising is a very important part of your chart. But I do feel like, and they can be a little detached. You do have like air signs can be a little bit more like floaty and detached, and you have, some of that in your chart.
You did such a good job.
I hope so. I hope you guys got something out of that. Astrology, I feel like it's just never ending learning about it.
I feel like the beginning of the next episode, we should do your chart.
Yeah, we can.
So what is this? So like, as far as like the world and the like all the shit we're seeing down, like, you know how sometimes they're like, Mercury's in retrograde or da 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 da.
Yes.
What are we in right now? Like, what's happening right now?
So we're in Libra season. We just made that transition.
Libra season.
Yep. And we just had the fall equinox. So that is another shift in our, astrology. So we are shifting times a bit. So it's like our bodies are ready to kind of come more internal. And we are also in an eclipse window. So on the 17th of September, we had a full moon eclipse in Pisces. So that was like a week or so ago. And it's interesting because from that date until the new moon on October 2nd, which will have another eclipse. So eclipses, they come in pairs. So like we're in that window. And this is definitely a time where shocking things can happen.
Oh, interesting.
Fateful things can happen. Like,
ooh, I love fate. Yes.
Yes, a lot of things. Like, if I think about this time last year, it was definitely crazy things were happening. But even just like with Diddy, like that stuff is real, it's shocking. It's like he's dealing with his karma. And then we will have another one of those, another eclipse on the 2nd. That'll be a new moon in Libra. But I'll say for eclipse seasons, like there's not really much you have to do. Like, sometimes new moons and full moons, like following the moon, you can manifest, you can release things, whatever. During eclipse season, it's going to do that for you. So just get out of the way of like, just let the eclipse do what it's going to do on you, and get lots of rest. And, if you've had headaches or
I've been having headaches.
Yeah, I've had them too. And it's just like, okay, like this is like that kind of time, that type time. So And like I said, Venus just went into Scorpio. That's a big deal. It's just like, okay, Venus is changing signs. So Venus has to do with money, relationships.
Okay. So what does that mean? Like some relationships in your life might appear, like new relationships are shifting or what?
Yeah. I mean, you just might get that depth of, and let me see where your Venus is in your chart. Hold on.
I wrote it down. My Venus is
It's in your 9th house, actually.
mm-hmm.
And your Venus is in Scorpio. So you're having a Venus return. And the 9th house is all about like, it's the Sagittarian ruled house. So it's about like travel, far travel, whatever, philosophy, whatever. But, you can definitely, maybe be getting, especially because we have this eclipse window. Yes, people can be separating, getting together. Venus being in Scorpio, you might have more steamy time, or you might feel deepening desires for intimacy or for money
Right.
and for me, Scorpio's in my first house. My Scorpio, I have a Scorpio moon and rising. Your rising's always in your first house. And so Venus is in my first house, which is like my appearance, just me as a person and stuff. So I'm hoping for a nice little upgrade.
She's hoping for a new wig,
a new life,
manicure done, a new life, somebody to come, sugar daddy to appear,
a new check.
I'm hoping for money, new relationships. I love friendships, having more friends, deepening those relationships I have. And that's what I'm hoping for this.
Yes.
Because Venus honestly, like people really, I mean, I feel like we talk about this sometimes, but friendship is just so underrated. Like it's just like so many people prioritize their partnership to the point where like their friendships are like dwindling, or they don't have that many, or they just don't have any that are of substance, And so I'm like always willing to make more friends any day.
And just like their friendships are really those people that really know you, that really.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, who do I tell anything and everything to? And I was like, you and Courtney. Like, I feel like I tell you like, and don't repeat any of this stuff on here, but it's like, I tell you things that I'm like, okay, I'm just having this thought, or like this experience happened and this is how I feel about it. And I feel like I don't share. I know that I share those things with you and Courtney. I don't share them with like anybody else. It's wild. Like,
I know. I mean, we definitely should talk about me, you, and Courtney's chart one day, but we have a lot of Scorpio, and Scorpio is also about like secrecy and like, the underlying stuff that's going on. And so, but yeah, friendship is just everything. Like, I don't know what I would do without my friends. I hope to get to a point where I am,
what?
Just satisfied with just like my intimacy with my friendships rather than like, needing that outside.
What do you mean? Like you could like
versus romantic.
Like you feel like you're at a point where you're still prioritizing like romance intimacy over friendship intimacy?
It's not that I'm prioritizing. It's just like feeling like fulfilled. It's just like I have really good friends that really know me, really love me, support me. And so it's like, it just would be nice to not have to like still have that like longing for a romantic.
Do you think that that's like part of the reason why you're in love addicts? Is that what it's called? I feel like I always call it love addicts, but
a sex and love addicts anonymous.
Is that why you think you're in that?
I mean, yes. But that can also show up in friendships too. Just like needing somebody else's approval, validation, attention to feel whole and complete.
This is just me getting an education right now from like your knowledge of Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. Is that a symptom of like someone should probably go? Is like if they're finding that like their true validation like comes from like being in a partnership rather than like friendship, or that they like are not feeling, they don't feel fulfilled with just friends, like they only feel fulfilled in relationships in their life, like is that a sign someone should go to that?
It depends. Like, so I'll read a couple of the characteristics of Sex and Love Addiction Anonymous, because that's how you really know. Like, there's Al-Anon, there's Codependency Anonymous, there's other relationship recovery programs, there's adult children of alcoholics or dysfunctional families. But like, okay, this is number one, having few healthy boundaries, become sexually involved with and or emotionally attached to people without knowing them.
Okay.
Fearing abandonment and loneliness, we stay in and return to painful, destructive relationships, concealing our dependency needs from ourselves and others, growing more isolated and alienated from friends and loved ones, ourselves, and God.
Wow.
Fearing emotional and or sexual deprivation, we compulsively pursue and involve ourselves in one relationship after another, sometimes having more than one sexual or emotional liaison at a time. 4, we confuse love with neediness, physical and sexual attraction, pity, and or the need to rescue or be rescued. 5 is we feel empty and incomplete when we are alone. Even though we fear intimacy and commitment, we continuously search for relationships and sexual contacts. 6, we sexualize stress, guilt, loneliness, anger, shame, fear, and envy. We use sex and or emotional dependency as substitutes for nurturing care and support. So like it goes on and on like that. This is my favorite one though.
What?
It's number 12. We assign magical qualities to others. We idealize them and pursue them, then blame them for not fulfilling our fantasies or expectations.
Damn, that's deep though. Like,
yeah,
that's deep though.
It's very deep. All this stuff is so normalized in our culture. Like, I feel like most people could benefit from a 12-step program, you know?
From the Sex and Love Addict, like
just because just 12 steps in general, just going through the steps, because all it really is, it's like learning how to be honest, doing service for other people, and having a higher power of your own understanding, which could be anything. It doesn't have to be, like a god or whatever. It can, people have whatever they need to have as like something bigger than themselves.
Yes, you're right. And often people make their god or their higher power or their like reason
God.
their partner.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It's just like you care so much about what they think about you or if they like you or whatever. And it's just like, you are not my higher power. Like, it's like you are just another person. I love, in the big book it says somewhere, it's like, we do not kneel before anyone. And it's just like, yeah, like I feel like a lot of people just need.
Have you ever been in a situation like that where you've made like a partner, you're like on a pedestal, like really high?
Of course. Probably everybody that I've ever, that I've been with, I've like put them on a pedestal and just thought they were amazing. But one thing I'm learning is that a lot of times is like the things that we see in them are things that we want for ourselves. So like it's like, oh my goodness, like they're able to like talk to people without whatever. It's like, oh, that's what I want for myself. Or they're a business owner. That's what I want for myself. Or they seem responsible and whatever. It's like, so yeah, it does get deep. I'm like,
thanks for sharing.
It takes a lot to grow up being securely attached, I feel like, because all of this really comes back to that too. Being securely attached, anxious attached, avoidant, like a combination. So
it's interesting. Yeah, I feel like I definitely grew up with a role model, my mother, of like definitely not putting your partner on a pedestal. When I tell you, my mom absolutely does not put my dad on a pedestal. Like, you know, they're best friends. Like, they love each other. They have a good time together. But I feel like that was like the one thing that was modeled to me. And my mom always kind of told me was like, your number one thing is your education. Your number one thing is having money. Like, you are powerful. You are this, like, you know, and it's like, you know, you like one day you'll live in a city and be a fly person. Like, you know, and if you know, like it was never like one day you're going to grow up and have a family. It was always like, one day you're going to grow up and be very successful and have everything you want. Right. And so I feel like, it's just like, so I feel like I never was like modeled that. And of course, I've had relationships where I was just like, you know, head over heels, I guess you would say, but like, and like losing reality. But I feel like,
you don't stay there.
I don't stay there. No.
Yeah.
No,
you don't allow yourself to get treated, you know, negatively and like still want them without actually, you know, you still may have residual feelings, but in terms of being really sad about it or something. And I was also going to say too, I feel like with your parents, your mom having a marriage before.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah, both of your parents, like it is just so... that just goes to show it's just like they're not afraid when you're not afraid to leave somebody or get a divorce. It's like you are choosing somebody.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My mic keeps dropping. I agree. And I feel like it's funny because other people have like pointed that out to me being like, yeah, like, I mean, that's an interesting experience. Like both of your parents had marriages outside, you know, marriages prior to you. And I grew up like, for example, Alicia, like that's my dad's first wife. Like I grew up knowing her, you know what I'm saying? Like she would come, like she was at like events at times, you know, for my brother. I follow her on Facebook. We message each other here and there, like, you know, because there's love there because of my brother, right? And she always loved us and would tell us, you know, you guys are so beautiful. Mikey always loved you so much. He talked about you every time you went out, you know, because he would come over every weekend. And so it's just like, and spend Christmases with us and everything, you know? And so it was just kind of like, it's interesting because it's like, yeah, I grew up seeing like that, you know, like that, like knowing that there was like another family basically operating. And so, yes, I feel like both of them have shown me like, yes, absolutely. Like you don't put this person on a pedestal because they can disappoint you. And not that you don't love them. You can love them, respect them, be, you know, think the world of them, but they're not your everything. Yes. But also I just feel like, I don't know. I would like to know your perspective. Like, I know your parents like were together since they were 16, was it? And like, so it's a different situation. 15. It's a different situation than mine. I mean, I'm just curious, like when you were growing up, were you thinking that was like, this is what happens? Like you find your high school sweetheart and this is what we do? Like,
yes, I did not want to like, I wanted to like find my person and like go off in the sunset and like, not in like, cognizantly I wasn't like that, but like every person that I dated was like, oh, is this the one? You know, it's like, and not even just, I don't even think it's just my parents because that put a lot of fear into me, honestly, in terms of like commitment, because that's where it's like I don't know what they call it, like it's not an oxymoron, it's something, but it's like, you know, I want intimacy so bad, but like intimacy, like being in a relationship means, you know, not having your power or like not having your independence or whatever. And so
from like the perspective that you've been shown, you're saying, okay.
So what I will say though about my experience, because I agree with you, just that little difference of you seeing that like, okay, like these people can get along,
like you can have multiple love lives, you can have you know, you can,
right,
you know, like
you will be okay, you'll be okay, more
right?
fam, like yes, you like had a unique experience. And I feel like I've had a similar experience when it comes to like religion, because my mom is culturally Jewish.
That's right.
And then my dad is Catholic, I guess. And so just having that like awareness of like, okay, my mom's coming to church with us, but like this is a Jewish woman, like, you know, and in this Black Catholic church,
right?
And so yeah, I just feel like with that I was just like able to have more of it just wasn't a challenge for me in terms of like opening my mind to other possibilities.
Do you think that it made you think differently about divorce? I say that because like, I don't know, like I said, both of my parents have had, well, my mom annulment, my dad a divorce. Like,
wow.
Or maybe it was a divorce. I'm pretty sure it was annulment, but both of them had prior marriages that didn't work and moved on. And I wonder if that, like, I don't know, because I feel like Gen Z has really been like reshaping my mind about divorce and just like what that means, you know? Like, and I feel like they're kind of showing this idea that, like, you know, it's great. Like, maybe you do get married to someone and you stay together for the rest of your life. Maybe you also meet someone and you spend a great 20-30 years together, you have kids together, and it just, like, you know, you turn, you know, you change, you know, whatever, you want different things, whatever, and it like naturally ends, and that's also totally fine. Like, it's like, I feel like Gen Z is like destigmatizing divorce and like making
You've seen like TikToks about
yes,
that?
and just how it's like it might be natural to have multiple, like to have maybe two long, serious adult, like what you would call maybe possibly marriages, like 20-year relationships, you know, or whatever, 15-year relationships. Like that is totally normal, and like it might be a little unnatural, the thought of like forever. And I don't know, not that I'm saying, I don't know where my views stand on it. I definitely think that like we can all reimagine what marriage looks like, and also reimagine, like, destigmatize divorce, because it's really just not that deep. But I feel like my parents, I don't know, they both had divorces, and like, you know, they both will talk about it. You know, it's like, I feel like they've kind of shown to me that it's like, it's not that scary, and it's like also something very normal, and it's also like, they, you know, like they had great marriages prior. It's just that, you know, things changed. And it's pretty natural. Like, what are your thoughts?
The sensible way to look at it. Unfortunately, there is so much fear. We put so much fear
we put so much fear.
Like, there's like the divorce rates are crazy. Like, you know,
right.
like,
but is a divorce that bad of a thing? I mean, I'm just posing these questions. Like, I don't know where I land. I haven't thought about it deeply enough. But but it's just like, is it like, I feel like we stigmatize it to the point of like, you know, divorce, like you said, divorce rates are up, and you know, but it's like, but is it realistic, or is it meant to be that like people truly are with someone for like 60 years or 50, 30?
I think like you said, I feel like the health of these people is the most important thing. Like, if we don't get along anymore and we're not being a good example, we're not being happy, and you know, because that's really what you want to model, right? It's like, I put myself first. Like, obviously I have my family in mind or whatever, but I'm not going to suffer. Like, it's just, you have to be that example.
And
I guess.
also, I think sometimes it could be framed, you know how like with abortion, they're like, they always want to talk about like incest and rape, but there's also people who just like don't have the baby. I feel like the same with divorce. It's like, yes, you can be unhappy or in a bad situation, but there's also people, I'm sure, who just like are like, we're more so friends now. You know, it's like, it's not like anything bad has happened. It's just that like, we're not choosing this romantically anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that comes with like destigmatizing it, in the sense that like, like I said, it doesn't, like, we can make it that deep, but also it doesn't have to be that deep. You know, it truly could just be like how you naturally move on to another relationship. You know,
absolutely. And just, like you said, just move on. Like, I feel like it's literally, I just feel like it's the same as, you know, it's the same as a breakup. It's just that you have assets.
And like kids,
and kids, and like things to split. But
that's why people say you really should have a prenup, like, because they talk about how like prenups, like, it's not that you're planning for divorce, because hopefully, you know, you know, whatever,
but it's like a breakup, like,
you're protecting. I heard it's like this girl say, you're protecting yourself from like your worst version of yourself, and I'm like, right, like when you're divorced, and say, you know, there might be animosity, resentment, there might be whatever, you might turn into a fucking monster, not the other person, but like you might be like, well, fuck this, like, you know, you're not getting shit, and it's just like protecting yourself from that. And so you like, and I just feel like,
especially when it comes to like getting a divorce, it's like, you know, they might move on before you, and like you might be real
shit. If I get cheated on in a marriage,
well, I'm just, even if you decide
it's over,
or it doesn't end the best, like, I like what you said, protecting from my worst self, because like, you never know what's gonna happen.
So would you get a prenup?
Yes, and I just, marriage right, like, I really don't know where I stand on anything right now.
What do you mean? Like, you might be anti-marriage?
Not anti-marriage, but just like, really, I don't know. I'm really learning how to. I texted my sister this, like, I was just like, I really want to learn how to, like, relationships are just not the priority or just not even.
They're not your, like, goal and meaning in life. They're not your North Star.
Yes,
They're
I wish
not
I
your.
could find the text that I sent her because I was just texting her. I'm just like, that's really like, I want to be completely satisfied because, and the reason why we started talking about this is just because, and I've been telling you too, it's just like men have just been really disappointing to me. Like, honestly, it started, I feel like, recently with the Dr. Umar
Oh my
thing, and we can
God.
briefly touch
Let's
on
briefly
that.
go to that. We'll transition into that. Enough with our deep
Yes.
shit, but we got pretty, like, thanks for being vulnerable.
I always am. I need to get into Alexis's business more often.
I'll be telling you if you ask.
I know, but we're
just
gonna
don't
get into your
ask.
business, and hopefully we'll get more people on the show, and then we can all
get in each other's business.
Get into the deep stuff.
Let's go there.
But yeah, I'll tell like a little bit about Dr. Umar disappointing
and
me.
we'll end with Dr. Umar.
Yeah. So as we were talking about last week, I have to eat my words because Alexis was like, I wonder. Alexis was like, I wonder what Dr. Umar would say about this. Like, and you can finish that thought because you were like, he's always talking about how interracial dating is like the worst thing.
We know our Dr. Umar. So last week, yes, like Samantha said, I was like, I wonder what Dr. Umar would say about this Diddy stuff because it's like his whole platform is allegedly his whole platform was this whole thing about like uplifting Black women and men and like the Black family and just like Black relationships in general. I feel like he goes viral every week off of like very much being like against interracial dating.
The snow bunnies.
He doesn't support anyone who dates a snow bunny, meaning a Black man who dates a white person. He any black person. He thinks that like it's just like terrible.
You're bunny hopping.
And he just doesn't. And he's like very. And his whole reason is like it doesn't uplift Black people in the Black race. So I thought to myself, I'm curious what he would say because certainly someone who cares about uplifting the Black race and moving it forward would have be just totally disgusted by Diddy, a Black man doing shit to Black women.
Period.
And so, of course, like fucking clockwork. Oh, go ahead.
It's so sad though, because the reason why I said that last week is because when we first started hearing about the Diddy stuff, Dr. Umar was like, like, you know, it's terrible. He was like, I don't even remember what he said it in like a funny way. Like he'd be talking about lashings or something. But he basically was like, it's unforgivable, whatever. But like, I really want to focus this conversation on domestic violence as a whole because Black women deal with the most domestic violence. I feel like we might even talk about it on the show.
We had an episode about that, yeah. When he went to the Breakfast Club and talked about it.
But so that was like what he said. So that was what I was like, okay, like I feel like he adamantly said no about this. But of course, we've been talking about it because Diddy's been arrested. And Dr. Umar,
he's sitting right up the street.
He is just talking about how, you know,
it's an attack on a Black man.
Yes,
that like basically this is being used as a way to tear down Black men. And I'm just like, exactly what I thought. You care more about fucking calling people snow bunnies and hating interracial dating than you actually do about Diddy, a known proven abuser. You literally see him on fucking TV, literally beating a woman of color's ass, and you care more about just calling people fucking snow buddies, not supporting Bronny James, than you do about actual abuse to Black women. And so that's why I'm just like, I can no longer take him seriously. Like, you know, his whole platform to me, it's like you actually at the end of the day don't care about the Black race, because if you literally have a problem with taking a stand about literally video evidence of this person being abusive, to me, you literally just hate interracial dating for no fucking reason. And it's not because you care about the Black race, because you would then care about women getting hurt. And so I'm just like,
period. I was in the comments.
Samantha got in some Twitter.
I don't usually do this, but I definitely was in the comments because I was commenting to Dr. Umar first because I was so disappointed. It was just like every which way I was looking, it was just men that were just disappointing me. And I was just texting Danielle and I was just like, I really need to learn how to really be good. And, you know, if somebody, a man or a woman, because it was Bisexual Visibility Day. They had some funny ass shit about that. But anyways, so anybody that comes into my life is just like an extra thing. It's not, like you said, it's not that serious if they don't fit into my life anymore, but truly being secure. But I'll read y'all the comment that I left.
And we'll end on that comment because I feel like it was like a mic drop.
Yes. So I said, Diddy is a danger to Black women and men alike. You've seen it plainly. I would think you, of all people, would be more focused on protecting the community rather than caping for a billionaire who was promoting drugging, prostitution, and sex trafficking. So you want him to be free to continue committing violence towards Black men, and women, as he has been for decades. You've seen the proof. It's well known. Damn, I really thought you had better sense and were an advocate for the protection of Black women and our community as a whole. You starting to sound like some of them on the corner who go on the street for good. Like using his words against them.
Catch
Like,
Samantha in the
what?
comments, y'all. Somewhere in Dr. Umar's comments.
I said something to somebody else. I was like, it's giving an unnatural, because
saw that.
Men were going back and forth with me.
I saw that.
Black men in the comments.
I saw that, yeah.
And so I was like, it's giving an unnatural allegiance to abusers.
It is. It's ridiculous. Why are we
very
showing?
weird.
Where's this coming from? But I think we should wrap it up.
Yes, let's wrap it up, y'all.
Email
this was a good episode.
It was a good episode. Email us topics at whoamitojudgepod@gmail.com.
Yes, or if you want to come on the show or have anything like that, we'd love to have you.
Yes, and also follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Who Am I to Judge Pod? Rate, subscribe, rate, review.
We're so tired, y'all. You can tell this eclipse is getting to us.
Look, y'all heard it from Samantha and the sun and the moon.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back next week. But yeah, until then, love you, friend.
You're so
watch me,
tired,
Alexis. Watch me.
It's the sound of the click off for me. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember to email us your discussion topics at whoamitojudgepod@gmail.com. Also, remember to subscribe to Who Am I to Judge podcast on Spotify and everywhere you get your podcasts. If you love us, please rate us and review. And if you don't, leave us alone. Tell a friend to tell a friend. See y'all next week. Bye, friends.